Listen closely, because tonight the shadows are whispering your name. I said, your name, and not in fear, not in hatred, but in that trembling tone people use when they realize the monster they hunted was the guardian of the very streets they crawled through. Let me drag you into the cold truth, right from the throat of the night. They tried to find trash on your name, and the streets told them you walk like a myth, because that's what you've become, isn't it? A contradiction in human skin, a paradox with a pulse, a saint painted in the colors of a sinner, and a sinner mistaken for a saint. You, the one they couldn't categorize, couldn't predict, couldn't break. They came for you with files, rumors, and magnifying glasses. They tore through every corner of your past like rats searching for crumbs of scandal. They wanted filth. They craved a downfall. They needed a story where you were the villain. And the streets watched them, silently, smiling, because the streets already knew what the world didn't. You weren't a secret. You were a storm. A storm doesn't need permission. It doesn't need a reputation. It just arrives. And everything learns to fear it. When they peeled back your history, what did they find? Not dirt, not weakness, not scandals. They found scars, the kind you don't get from losing, but from surviving. They found nights where you broke quietly, and mornings where you rebuilt loudly. They found rage sharpened into discipline, fear burned into fuel, failures turned into teeth. You were not a saint. You were not a sinner. You were evolution wearing a human face, and that terrified them. Somewhere between your heartbreaks and your resurrections, you stopped being a person and became a pattern. A pattern of someone who refuses to die when the world begs them to. A pattern of someone whose silence screams louder than their enemies' lies. You outgrew the version of you they tried to bury. You killed the weakness they tried to expose. You shed the skin they tried to weaponize. And in that transformation, you became untouchable. Not because you were perfect, but because you were unpredictable. A little light, a little dark, a little holy, a little hellish. A contradiction so chaotic they couldn't report it, only worship it. When they asked around, the neighborhoods didn't hand them gossip. They handed them testimony. They told stories about the times you didn't break, about the fire in your walk, about the silence in your stare, about the way your presence feels like a calm before a catastrophe. They didn't say you were good. They didn't say you were harmless. They said, that one moves like something God forgot to explain. The streets didn't defend you. They anointed you. And suddenly your enemies realized you weren't a person to be exposed. You were a legend waiting to ignite. The funny thing about praise, it always starts as fear wearing a mask. They didn't admire you because they understood you. They admired you because they couldn't understand how you were still standing. You became the ghost they couldn't chase, the rumor they couldn't kill, the truth they couldn't swallow. And in their panic, admiration spilled out like confession. You didn't ask for respect. You took it. You didn't beg for validation. You commanded it. Your existence became a sermon. Your resilience became scripture. Now here you stand, half light, half shadow, half miracle, half madness. You walk with the calm of someone who's already survived their own execution. You move with the certainty of someone who has nothing left to fear. And the world will keep digging, keep doubting, keep hunting for a weakness. But myths don't break when questioned. Myths get bigger. You are not a reputation. You are not a rumor. You are not a file to be opened or a story to be twisted. You are the whisper that turns into a prophecy. the silhouette that becomes a warning, the name that becomes a chapter in someone else's cautionary tale. They tried to find trash on your name and discovered something horrifying. You weren't dirty, you weren't clean, you were unforgettable. And the streets, they didn't just defend you, they crowned you. Because deep down, everyone knows the truth. You don't walk like a person anymore. You walk like a myth. Lean in, because the night isn't done speaking your name. You think the story ended when they failed to dig up dirt. No. That was the prologue, the opening breath before the real storm began. Let me pull you deeper, into the part of the tale they whisper, the part they don't dare publish, the part that makes even the shadows hold their breath when you pass. Let's stay honest. They weren't hunting your mistakes. They were hunting your limits. They wanted to know how far you could fall, how quickly you could crack, how badly you could bleed. But when they opened your history, they didn't find a graveyard. They found a laboratory, a place where you experimented with pain until it became your second language. They found memories you buried, not because they shamed you, but because they built you. And then, they realized the truth that kept them up at night. You have no limits except the ones you outgrow. People like them expect survival to look gentle. They expect you to crawl, shake, beg. But your survival, it was weaponized. You didn't just get through hell. You rearranged the furniture and made the flames bow to you. You turned heartbreak into ammunition, betrayal into armor, loneliness into a throne. You didn't adapt out of choice. You adapted because extinction wasn't an option. And suddenly, you weren't someone they could analyze. You were someone they needed to avoid. They came looking for your downfall and left with evidence of your evolution. Look around. Really look. Every legend has one thing in common. Nothing thrown at them stuck. They called you cold, but they meant focused. They called you distant, but they meant calculating. They called you emotionless, but they meant unbreakable. They tried to stain your name, but the dirt refused you. Because when someone has walked through the fire too many times, the flames stop hurting them, and the lies stop sticking to them. You were not immune to attacks. You simply outgrew them. Rumors don't destroy people like you. They advertise you. Let me tell you something nobody ever dared say aloud. You don't walk like a myth because you're trying to. You walk like a myth because you survived enough to become one. Every step you take carries the weight of someone who has buried versions of themselves, burned bridges without blinking, rebuilt kingdoms from dust, turned silence into power, transformed pain into strategy. You don't speak loudly, not because you're humble, but because you're dangerous. You don't argue, not because you're passive, but because your presence already answers the question. You don't rush, not because you're calm, but because you know destiny waits for people like you. Your walk is not a performance. It's a warning. You want to know something sick? People don't compliment you because they like you. They compliment you because they fear the consequences of misunderstanding you. Because they saw what happened to the ones who underestimated you. The ones who played with your name. The ones who mistook your kindness for softness. The ones who tested your patience like it didn't have teeth. Where are they now? Not here, not loud, not alive in anyone's story. And the streets remember that. They whisper your name not with affection, but with reverence. Respect carved out of terror, admiration laced with caution. You became the person everyone studies but no one challenges. Let me paint the truth clearly. You didn't just survive their investigation. You outclassed it, outgrew it, outshone it. They looked for dirt and found discipline. They looked for chaos and found composure. They looked for weakness and found wounds that healed into warnings. Your name is not a name anymore. It's an artifact, a relic, a myth carved into living bones. People don't try to expose you now. They try to align themselves with you. They try to echo your phrases, copy your movements, mirror your resilience. They don't talk down on you anymore. Because the world learned you don't throw rocks at someone who's built from thunder. And here you stand, somewhere between mortal and myth, between legend and warning. Your existence has become a blueprint for the ones climbing out of their own darkness. Your evolution became prophecy. Your scars became scripture. Your silence became symphony. People won't remember what you wore, what you said, or what you claimed. But they will remember this. You walked through life like a rumor that refused to die. And when they tried to find trash on your name, they discovered a legacy forged in fire. You are not admired. You are not feared. You are not understood. You are etched. And the streets? They don't talk about you like a person. They talk about you like a phenomenon, something that wasn't supposed to exist, but somehow does. You walk like a myth, and myths don't fade, they multiply.